Hello ERP Lab. In this video we will be going over how to replace Sparky Jr., our stimulus computer, in case anything goes wrong. Sparky Jr. should be replaced if it cannot turn on and you've checked the connection between the power cord and the surge protector, if Sparky Jr. turns off automatically, or if there's any persistent error codes, messages, or beeps. Sparky Jr. should be replaced with Sparky 3. And if Sparky 3 is not available, then Sparky 4. The first thing we're going to do is unplug Sparky Jr., put Sparky Jr. aside, and then plug in Sparky 3. Make sure to email or group me message Doc before you switch out the computers and after to remind Doc when you send your follow-up email. Also, if Sparky Jr. malfunctions before any of the data is collected, this is okay. The computer can be replaced and the session can proceed or be postponed. If Sparky Jr. malfunctions during the ERP session, this data and the participant session is now lost. Alright, so before unplugging the cables, we're going to gently pull Sparky Jr. out, making sure that the cables do not tug or get yanked out, and we're going to make sure that the USB travel drive is taken out and its location is noted. So as we can see, Sparky Jr. here has got some old but reliable cables. These cables can be differentiated by color, shape, and a lot of them have a little symbol where they're plugged in. So we're going to learn about these cables before we unplug them. This cable on top here is the power cord. These two circular cables are PS2 cables, and the one on the left with the purple background is for the keyboard, and the one on the right with the turquoise green background is for the mouse. These two cables here have thumb screws, and when you unplug them, you have to make sure you twist them left all the way before unplugging them. This one with the blue background, which you can't really see here, is the SVGA cable and is used for the monitor. This with the pink background here is the parallel port, and this cable here plugs into the amplifier in the other room. Down here, we have this little aux cable with this nice lime green background here, and this connects to our speakers. So, after we unplug all these cables, we want to make sure they don't fall behind the desk, and we're going to have them ready for when we plug in Sparky 3. Sparky 3 and Sparky Jr. are the same computer model. They're both Dell Dimension 2400s, and they're both loaded with the same stimulus presenting programs. Sparky 3 and Sparky 4 are both going to be located in the bottom rightmost cabinet. So, you've caught me bringing Sparky 3 to life. And so since Sparky 3 and Sparky Jr. are the same exact computer model, all these port locations are going to be the same. So I'm almost done plugging things in, and there's only two more things that I really have to note. One is that I really have to make sure that these thumb screws here are tightened all the way to the right. Okay, good. And lastly, I need to plug in the power cord last. All right. So now that everything is plugged in, Sparky 3 is ready to go. If Sparky 3 is not available or malfunctioning, we're going to have to use Sparky 4. Sparky 4 is a Dell Optiplex 380 computer, and it has very similar ports as Sparky 3 and Sparky Jr. We have a power cord port, we have a green audio port, we have a pink parallel port for the amplifier, and we have a blue SVGA port for the monitors. So something's missing, and that is the PS2 ports. The PS2 ports are going to be used via a USB dongle. And here we have the dongle, and on the end we have our two PS2 ports. Except this time, we're not going to plug in the mouse. We are just going to plug in the purple keyboard PS2 to the purple keyboard connection. So it looks like this. These will match up. And now this time for the mouse, we will be using a USB mouse. And through the wall here, this cable is an extension cable for the mouse. And it's already connected to the mouse behind the desk in the testing room. So we're just going to plug in this USB cable here. And now we have the mouse ready, and when these two purple connections connect, we'll have the keyboard ready. The rest of these cables plug in as usual, and just like before, we want to make sure that the power cord is plugged in last. If you have any questions, please refer to your lab manual. If you have any further questions, ask a lab manager or doc. Thank you for watching.